Roberto, Luongo, Matthieu Darche, and Daniel Briere are amongst the names that have been tossed around during Montreal's hunt for a general manager. It still remains unclear when they're actually going to name a GM, but according to Pierre Lebrun, the hunt is officially underway. Just yesterday, Lebrun would tweet, quote, "Hearing that the Montreal Canadiens have begun reaching out to teams asking for permission to speak to GM candidates. Believing that they've done so with the likes of Roberto Luongo, Daniel Briere, and Matthieu Darche, among others. Obviously a ways to go, but the process has started. So, in this video, we're going to take a look at this trio of ex-NHL players. We'll take a look at their background, talk a little bit about what they're doing right now, and then I'll let you decide, out of these guys, which one you would prefer to have as the next general manager of the Montreal Canadiens. But first, if you're a fan of the Habs, or just watching Connor McDavid wish that he was Michael Pezzetta for 1 second, then please consider subscribing to my channel, as I upload a ton of hockey content and would really enjoy having some more of you grasshoppers tag along for the ride. So, before I begin talking about some of these knuckleheads, keep in mind that every potential candidate we've heard of so far has very limited experience. It's a common consensus amongst Habs fans that Jeff Gorton will be the guy running the show, while the general manager is basically just going to be a puppet being groomed by an experienced veteran like Gorton, and the GM will provide a familiar face for the French media, speaking French and pleasing the francophone fan base. The first person we're going to take a look at here is none other than ex-Montreal Canadien Matthieu Darche. During his hockey career, our boy Darche spent time with just about every team you can think of. The guy, he got around, okay? He was bounced around like Cedric Paquette's brains after this hit from Sam Bennett. Eventually though, Darche would spend 3 seasons with the Montreal Canadiens from 2009 to 2012. If you take a close look at Darche's player statistics, you'll notice that Darche was actually pretty damn good in the AHL. In fact, he was wicked at the AHL level, but he just couldn't seem to put it together and transition into the NHL. He's like some kind of AHL Gretzky. Since hanging up the skates, Darche was Vice President of Sales and Marketing in Canada for Del Mar International Incorporated. But in May 2019, Darche was named Director of Hockey Operations for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And it's over there where he works directly with GM Julien Brisebois. Darche has now been a member of the Lightning for 2 Stanley Cups, most recently, of course, when they defeated the Canadiens. Yeah! Darche has been involved with a winning team his entire time with the Lightning, but like everybody else, he's got limited experience at the NHL level. That wraps up Darche. Now get the hell out of here, because we're about to talk about somebody else. The next guy on the list here is Roberto Luongo, or as some people probably call him, Roberto. Luongo was one of the better goalies of his generation, putting up some impressive numbers between the pipes. But unfortunately for him, he would never win a Stanley Cup. Since retiring from hockey, Roberto Luongo has joined the Panthers front office as a special advisor to the general manager. He is a fixture at games and practices, watching from afar but staying close to the game he loves. Luongo was a very outspoken and respected player around the league. However, besides being bilingual, he doesn't really bring that much experience to the table. In 2021, he was named GM of Team Canada for the International Ice Hockey Federation World Cup, and most recently was named Assistant General Manager of Hockey Canada to help build the roster for the 2022 Winter Olympics. Yada yada yada, we all know that ain't happening anymore. But the fact that he was involved in this sort of thing is noteworthy. Now, when it comes to Montreal's GM position, his name is definitely out there, but much like everybody else on the list, his inexperience will be a huge factor. Moving on from Roberto, let's take a look at Daniel Briere. Looking at him on the old NHL Pokedex here, I couldn't even get it all on the screen in one shot due to this guy's massive career. Briere was drafted by the Phoenix Coyotes, or the Arizona Coyotes, whatever the hell you feel like calling them today, but he would spend most of his career with both the Buffalo Sabres and the Philadelphia Flyers. When Briere became a free agent and the Habs were making a pitch for him, Briere decided to sign with the Flyers over the Canadiens, and Habs fans around the world, myself included, were shook about this. But to Briere's credit though, he would sign and play with Montreal towards the end of his career and was a pretty big part of their playoff run in 2014. As for right now, since retiring, Daniel Briere has got himself a pretty decent gig. He's been running the Maine Mariners of the ECHL, a team that was affiliated with the New York Rangers when Gorton was in charge since 2017. Daniel Briere is considered an up-and-coming executive after his long, successful NHL career, though they would mention it's a pretty big jump going from a general manager in the ECHL to the general manager of the Montreal Canadiens. But for me, one thing that sticks out here about Briere is that he actually knows Jeff Gorton. Pretty big deal if they've got a good relationship. This really makes me think that he could be potentially higher on the list of candidates than we actually may believe. Does this mean anything? I don't know. You tell me. I assume this is going to be a pretty big week for Jeff Gorton with all these interviews going on. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would like to see something happen before the trade deadline. But I mean, a lot of you guys are counting down the days till next Christmas already. Jeez. Now there is a lot more names being tossed around than the trade that we just went over. But in this video, I decided to focus on just these guys due to Pierre Lebrun lots of fun mentioning them in his tweet. That does it for this video. Let me know what you're thinking down there in the dirty rotten comment section. I hope you all enjoyed, and hey, I'll see you next time.